Since we set out on our journey to become self-sufficient, we quickly realised that one of the main tasks we have to do day in, day out is to secure our supply of fuel. And we secure ours by chopping branches from trees during the spring through to the autumn, and from our hedges as well. We feed them to the goats eat the leaves and the twigs and the bark, and what's left we chop up like this lot and leave it, store it for a couple of years to let it dry out, and then we use it as fuel. And for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, that's what people have done, until in recent centuries, when people became less reliant on their local fuel supplies. They could buy in coal, or nowadays we get gas and electricity, and we've lost some of the knowledge of the traditions that go with gathering fuel. And one of the main traditions that we still have, at least in name, is Yuletide and getting the Yule Log. For most of us nowadays, a Yule Log is a cake that you buy in Marks and Spencer's, but the tradition goes back hundreds, possibly thousands of years. The winter solstice is on the 21st of December. It's the shortest day of the year, and that is well worth celebrating, because from then onwards the days are getting longer. And the Vikings have given us a great tradition, because they had a god called Odin, and a feast to celebrate Odin called Yule. And Odin was the god of the dead, but also of intoxicating liquor. And one of the tasks that needed to be carried out as part of this celebration was to go and find a Yule log and bring it back to your house. Now, the Yule log you would have been looking for would have been something much more substantial than this. This is just a branch I've lobbed off a local hedge, which I'm going to feed to the goats. Said the Yule log would have been a huge thing. It would have been a substantial branch or part of a trunk, a substantial part of a tree. And to get it back to your house, you would have had to have your ox or your horse drag it there. Back in Anglo-Saxon and Viking England, the vast majority of people would have lived in a single room cottage, and at the heart of that cottage would have been your hearth, and your life would very much have revolved around that, because that's what kept you warm and it's where you cooked your food. And many of the celebrations, quite understandably, revolved around things that were important to people. So clearly your hearth was, as was collecting your fuel as well. And the Yule celebration simply combined those two key aspects of life together. Now, you can get a very big log into your single cottage, into your single room cottage, and get it onto your hearth. We can't do that nowadays, because we have, in our modern heating, in modern heated homes, we have central heating, and in our house we have a wood-fired stove. You're certainly not going to get an enormous log on it. But we're going to have a go at recreating a log, a Yuletime log. This little bit of log here from our wood pile, and I'm going to take this home now and we're going to decorate it. So we're back at the house now, and we're in front of our wood-fired stove, and here is our Yule log, and as you can see it's been decorated with holly and ivy, the only greenery around at this time of year. Now, back in the Anglo-Saxon, in the Viking period, they would have had a huge log in, it would have been decorated with holly and ivy, and it would have been burnt over a 12-day period, which ultimately led to the Christian church having 12 days of Christmas. And this will go on the fire, and it will bring us good luck, good health and prosperity for the year ahead. So the final job after your 12 days of Christmas is to scatter the Yule log ashes on the ground where you grow your crops, because the ashes are believed to bring fertility to the ground, which is actually quite sensible because they do actually contain some nutrients. And I know where our wood ash gets mixed in with our compost and with our manure to be rotted down to go on the land anyway. So it's quite sensible that the ash from the Yule log, obviously given a bit of a symbolic meaning, is scattered where you'd be growing your crops. So that's the story behind the Yule log. So it started off in pre-Christian society as a way of celebrating the winter solstice, celebrating the fact that we're about to go into a new growing season, the days were going to be getting longer, and celebrate the fertility of the land, and in effect calling for the gods to make sure that the next year was going to be prosperous and healthy for people. And then when Christianity came along, they effectively absorbed the Yule festival, moved Christmas to late December so that the Yule events, the Yule festival and Christmas could coincide. And since then it has become quite a major part of Christian celebrations.